Well, coach, really competitive game for, I'd say, about 30, 35 minutes. They go really hot to end the game, 10 of their last 10 field goals. What made them so hard to stop at the end there?
Well, what makes them hard to stop is they're a good team with, like I've said, out on that court the whole end of the, second half, they had 5 seniors, 4 of whom are fifth-year seniors playing, who've played in tons of games. And, these environments or whatever that is, they know what they're doing. They know they're going to do it. And they got one of the best players in the country, top 10 players in the country, top 2 point guards in the country, in terms of just experience and knowledge and smart basketball player and what's the score, and anytime they need anything, there's 4. There's 4. And 4's just a really good player. Isaiah's a hell of a player. Everybody who plays, today, in my opinion, a kid who's playing, who wants to be good, they should watch that kid play basketball because he's just like this all the time. He's like this. He's got a game. He knows he's got a game. And because he knows he's got a game, his whole game's about his team. His whole game's about his team. And that's what really makes them a good team because they got him. And, and like I said, they got those other seniors, and that's what they did down the stretch, and that's been our, I'll continue to say we got to get stronger. We got to get right. It's a physical strength thing when you're talking about it for 40 minutes, a physical strength thing, offensively, defensively. You got to execute. We got to get better at that. It's like, okay, I just said to our guys, we're going to get stronger, but you're doing it so that mentally, you're going to have this Air Force strength, which is we execute. We don't have offensive possessions where we don't know what we're doing. We execute because that's what you got to do against them and every team in this league. We got to have that kind of strength, and in order to have it, you got to have the physical strength. They do, to your question, 40 minutes sort of wore us down a little bit, you know what I mean, and give them credit for that. And that's pretty much what I would say every team in this league is. When you look at the top 7, top 8, top 7, they're wearing you down. They're wearing you down, and they're wearing you down, and you got to be able to sort of handle that. And that's why, that they shot 73% in the second half, and my disappointment is like our fouling. We foul too much. Now there's a physical strength element to that you, for 40 minutes, you got to be so strong and not have a hand come down. Well, but we fouled too much and gave them too many of those free points, in addition to Isaiah and, whatever else they did.
After the Wyoming game, we talked a little bit about kill runs and how those have kind of cost you. There wasn't really a kill run per se today, but it kind of was that lagging second half. Do you think there's a trend to that, whether that's fatigue, lack of focus? What do you think it is?
Well, I think it's college basketball. I think it's 40 minutes. It's 40 minutes of the grind. You know what I mean? These games aren't, this game today is not like up, down, free flowing, everything's bad. This is like a grind, and that's what, I think to your point, like it wears us down, and I think what happened, we only, again, 8 turnovers. Okay. Means we're getting shots at the basket, right? But like I said, we had too many possessions where we come out and in the course of we don't have 5 guys on the same page doing the same thing. Advantage Colorado State. Advantage every other team in this league because when we have a possession like that, the success rate is like 20%. When we have possessions where we know what we're doing, 5 guys, they don't like it. They don't like it. We got to have every one of our possessions be like that and have 8 turnovers. And then there was no kill run, but there was a, 8-5 to, 9-3 to 8-2, and it wasn't just like that. So we've been talking about kill runs and offensive. You can't give up an offensive rebound. Big part of that last game, we went 1 for 10 over that stretch, right? We didn't turn. You can't go 1 for 10. You can't do that. And I probably in these little stretches here, I think in the second half we shot 37%. We don't turn it over. I know we can't shoot 37%, but we got to make sure every one of those shots is coming from a good offensive possession, and we got to know that that's ultimately where we're going with this type of strength that we got to build.
Well, the outcome necessarily hasn't been win as often as you'd like. I feel like it's getting more competitive. The losses are closer. How confident are you with the growth, the getting closer in some of these losses?
I know that since New Mexico. I just said this to our players. I said, I've liked our approach. When I look at our team, I like our approach and how we're going about our business, and I like what I see in terms of what you just said, because that's what I see. I see a little bit tougher, the tougher team. I see more of an understanding of what physical strength, what does strength actually mean, how you have to be, and we're definitely improving that way. So, but when you talk about a guy like Wes who's got to go in and play because Bo's got a fourth foul for an unknown reason, well, is Wes truly ready to play, Mountain West basketball as a freshman in this type of, I don't know. So there is that element too, but you know what? If we can keep going forward and keep getting stronger, I like our approach over, like you said, but the games are, okay, our guys know we're tougher and we're stronger. We're playing more the way we're supposed to play, okay? Got to do it for 40 minutes. And when we go to the tournament, like everybody knows in the country, everybody's 0-0. Everybody knows everybody's 0-0. But you got to know that when it's talking about March, like I said today, it's a grind. Like the games are going to be grinds. Like the possessions are so important. Got to be able to handle that over 40 minutes, That's what Wednesday's going to be. It's what today was. I think we're getting better at it. I see us getting better. And like I said, I see our guys sort of mental approach improving that way. That's a big part of the process.
Did you think the technical calls against you and Bo were correct?
I don't think either one were, in my opinion, just because Bo, went like this with the ball. Ball didn't go flying up into the air. Nobody was showing up. Nobody was showing up, in my opinion. And then all I was doing was sticking up for my junior who, I'm a big believer in this. You only get X amount of games in college basketball. It's finite, man. It isn't infinite. You don't get to play forever, you know what I mean? You get 4 years, and you're a kid, and you're playing in a game, and to have a game sort of like, and you got to come out now. I'm not a big believer in that. Like the understanding of this is important. These things, you just can't go ahead. Now, if the ball had flown way up in the air, and everybody in the arena saw, whoa, he slammed the ball, and okay, well, I know that's a technical foul, So, and then I was just sort of, I didn't really say much. I don't know why I got a technical foul, but I know I was sticking up for Bo in terms of what I just said, and because I think that's important.
Yeah, Coach, 3 guys in double digits, led by Regis Petrides at 27. He was 10 of 15 from the field. Were you guys scheming the offense around him because he's been playing at a high level here as of late, or is it one of those things, he's got the ball, he's feeling good, he's putting it up, and it's going in?
Yeah, I just think a lot of teams, that's what I mean, with our offensive possessions, Regis might be the one guy, Byron Brown too a little, but he didn't play well today. But he's the one guy who, if something does sort of break down, if something is off kilter, he can go do something. Where he's improved is he's done a much better job of not just having it be for him, like he stops, he pumps, has the opportunity to find open teammates off of that stuff. And if he doesn't, he still has the ability to put it in. So I think that's a big part. And, I just think we have to continue, and this is what's been stressed to Regis, like really becoming a machine in doing what we do, because if we're doing what we do every single possession and he can do some of that stuff, well, that's when we'll be as good as we can be. So long as sometimes it's like, that's a bad offensive possession, but Regis goes, well, the success rate is nowhere near as great as when Regis goes and everybody knows what we're doing. And that's what we have to get better at. But, he was good today in terms of, being under control and going 10 for 15. You know what I mean? He wasn't just, I didn't see him flying into the ground except maybe like at the end. He's like, stop, he was under control. And when you play that way, it's good for your team too, because you're going to throw some passes. But he definitely had energy. And, we got to get Jeff back in the fold of, like I just said to him after the game, he's our best passer, Jeff, he and Regis. And he's been making shots. Okay, Jeff, you're a passer. You got 81 assists, I think 19 turnovers or something like that. You got to be that passer, glue, passer. And now you're making shots too. It's like the same thing. He's been off for, just came back. If I can get him back that way, again, that's an important piece of the team really growing. And that's his role, and he's got to know that's his role. And so hopefully he's going to, Wednesday, okay, I'm playing that way, and I'm making shots.
Now, how do you get the guys, the Taylors, the Beckers, the Keelans, how do you get them up to that level as we end the season and go into the
Yeah,
tournament?
well, I mean, it's really hard. I mean, it's hard in terms of everything we've said is like really getting them up to the level is going to be this postseason program and this physical strength thing. And we've already started it. We're already talking to our guys about our strength coach because you got to do it and not changing who we're playing against next year. We're playing against 23 and 24 and 25. It's not changing. And we got to know that, and we got to really make a commitment. So you can't do that in 3 days, but I know what you can do to these questions is you can understand, right? I got to be so physical. I got to be so tough. I got to find it within myself to be able to do that for 40 minutes. And it's got to be a collective thing. It can't just be for us. We always need 5-6 guys playing that way, so that's going to be the goal. Like I said, I've liked our guys' approach, so I just want to see that approach as we go to the tournament. We have that approach, and we take that court on Wednesday, no matter who we play. We know what this is. We know the way we got to be, and we're prepared to play that way for 40 minutes, and hopefully I'll see that sort of, that kind of toughness and resolve from our players.
And we've talked a lot about the physicality, especially of today and then going forward into the tournament. We know the starting five, they're good. Who are some guys on the bench you're really going to look towards during this home stretch to really kind of up the physicality in that line?
Well, like I said, the guy Wes, he's a 7-footer. He's a freshman, so the understanding of that physicality, being able to do that, I don't know. I like Luke Carney. He's been really coming along. But he's come along, and like I said to my assistants, it's like, with young guys today, it's like I got to see this maturity come over them. There's they got to develop that strength first, And Luke's been doing good because since, sometime in December, there's a chance okay, I'm gonna apply myself. I'm gonna engage myself. I'm gonna invest myself. That's a maturity. You know what I mean? There's a strength here, and to me, I feel strongly that that's the number one strength because we're only recruiting high school. If something happens, I got to plug in a freshman. I'm not plugging in a 22-year-old transfer from somewhere. Now that 18-year-old or 19-year-old freshman, they got to have this maturity to them, because just the way it is today, they're not that mature, for whatever the reasons are. But they got to develop, and that's what I mean. Luke, I've seen a maturity come over him through the course of this year. Well, playing better, playing stronger, to your point, right? We got to get more of that from those guys. But I know we're getting it from him. I wish Colby hadn't gotten hurt, because maybe we'd see it in there. And like I said, Jeff's just coming back. And I'm hopeful that a couple more days of practice, playing in 2 games, I see a little bit of that type of mental, because he's a junior, so he can have, his will be a little bit higher. And then, I already brought up Byron Brown, we can't have games where Byron Brown is sort of not making a big-time contribution for us, because he is physically strong. He might be the most physically strong guy on our team, but this is his first year really playing Mountain West basketball, so he has these peaks and valleys as well, But I know when we say we're going to get stronger, Byron Brown applies himself. He's going to get stronger like you can't believe, and that's why that's important.
Well, Bo, you guys kept with them for most of the second half. Then they just really got hot to end the game, 10 for 10 on their last field goals. What made them so hard to stop down the stretch?
They're a very experienced team. Steven's really good guard, can shoot the ball. And our defense, our press kind of broke apart at the end. So that was a little bit unfortunate on our part, but that's kind of what happened.
You look at a guy like Stevens, who's not overly tall, but he's, like you said, so explosive. What makes him that hard to stop?
His quickness and his handle, and then he can pass it. He can go both ways. He can shoot the pull up. He's a good player. So
You look at both of you guys' games against Colorado State. Both single-digit games. Seeing that you guys were competitive against them, does that give you any sort of confidence heading to Vegas?
It definitely does. We know that we can compete with any team in our conference. It's just about how we approach the game, how we execute our offense, how we guard the guys. So I think that we definitely have the confidence to play a good game in Vegas.
Yeah, kind of going off that, this game is extremely physical from the first tip all the way to the last buzzer. Can you talk a little bit about, in the paint, how the physicality, working for those points under the bucket?
Yeah, I mean they're an old team. They're all strong. A lot of 6th-year, 5th-year guys. Joel Scott, one of them. It's very physical, and that's something that Coach kind of talks about a lot. Is how we can get stronger, how we need to be like really physical. So that was kind of a game for us that we learned about that.
Sure. Now with that physicality, when talking about the tournament here coming up, does that bring more confidence knowing you can battle, like you talked about, battle with anybody in the conference because the conference is wide open going into this tournament?
I mean, yeah, like what Coach Scott said, it's all the scores 0-0. All of our records are 0-0 in the conference, and we just got to come ready to play.
Now, leading into the practices, heading up to the tournament, what's it going to take for you guys to, execute and improve on to make a run?
We just got to stay confident, know our stuff, play the way we played, play the way we know how to play, and try to win the game.
Well, Regis, on both sides, it looked like this game was called very tight. Did you feel any certain way about just how the game was officiated? Like, I feel like there were more calls than usual for both sides.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very, touchy, they called everything. And, I mean, towards the end of the game, that kind of hurt us because they tried to throw it inside, and in the post, we're trying to get around them. They're so much bigger and stronger sometimes. We're trying to get around, and it looks like a foul, but sometimes it's really not. And, I mean, give them credit. They're trying to get inside, but, yeah, I mean, it just worked in their favor in the end.
You look at your career high in points tonight, just the way you're playing lately. What kind of confidence does that give you that you can be a huge leader for this team going up against the conference tournament?
Yeah, I mean, it's just we as a team, we got to work, and I just got to move the ball, do what we do, and try to do the best I can defensively and on the boards because, I mean, we're undersized, and I just got to rebound as much as possible. And, yeah, we just got to move the ball, and I got to do a better job trying to slow down the other team when they're on a 9-0 run or 10-0 run,
I mean, you look at this league, every team has the advantage of playing every team in this league before the conference tournament, but going from playing Ossibor a couple days ago to playing Stevens, two very different players, just how confident do you feel that this team's prepared for both of those very different type of players?
Yeah, I mean, since the beginning of the season, we've been so much better in the inside. I mean, we've been trying to work on getting stronger and getting inside and trying to not let them do that and just work on our guard defense, which against Wyoming wasn't the best. I mean, tonight we did a little better, but Isaiah Stevens got the better part of us towards the end. And I mean, we just gotta work hard, and the confidence is there. We just gotta play like we did in New Mexico or UNLV, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, Rita's 27 points, 10 of 15 from the field, a lot of those points in the paint. We talked a little bit about the bow and the physicality in the paint. You talk a little bit about your work down low and getting those hard-earned baskets.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what Coach Scott kind of preaches. Like, we got to, once we get in there, I mean, if they double down, obviously get out, but it's an advantage us when we get inside. And we have these post moves that we work on. And, I mean, I've been working on them for a long time. I try to get that. And then when I drive, I mean, towards the beginning of the season, I just went up, and I've been stopping and turning a lot more, trying to get control and then come back and look for open guys. And I feel like it's been a lot better on my part. I still have to improve on doing that. There's a couple of times where I could have done it this game. And, yeah, I mean, physicality's there, and it was some ticky-tack fouls, but, I mean, that's the game of basketball, and you play by how the refs call it. So.
Sure, coaches always talk about going into the tournament. It's season 0-0. As one of the team leaders, what do you want to see yourself improve on along with the team going into the tournament?
I want to see us as a team just play how we've been playing against the 2 wins that we got, or even both games against Colorado State. Like, defensively, we were there. We were rebounding the ball, and just offensively, everything was clicking. We were making shots, and and that's how we'll get a good win in conference tournament. Personally, I just want to be a better leader, try to move the ball when I get inside because they collapse, and try to get other people's shots because it will go in because I trust my teammates.